So this husband and wife are celebrating their 25th anniversary, and they're not just going to go anywhere. They're going to fly to the United States, and they're going to fly to Las Vegas. They've never been to United States, and they've definitely never been to Vegas. So this was a huge bucket list item for them. So they get to the hotel, and everyone is super, super great to them. They're helping check them in. And the bag guy's like, hey, let me go take your bags up with you. And they're like, oh, finally. Like, they've been carrying them all day. Absolutely. So they head up to the elevator with him, and he puts the key card in, and all of a sudden, it turns green, and they open the door. And when they open the door, they're so excited because they're in Vegas. They're in their own little area. But then they get hit with this awful, awful, awful smell. And instantly they're like, hands up here. And even the bad guy's like, I'm going to run downstairs and see what I can do. And the husband and wife are just like, sounds great. Yeah, let us know, whatever. And they're both just holding their nose, but they're so excited. So they go and they are looking out the window to see what views they can see in Vegas. And they try to open the window a little bit, and it only opens about that much. Because if you've ever been to Vegas, there's always a safety feature. You can't open your window all the way. So they're walking around. Everything looks fine, but just smells really bad. So the husband goes to the restroom, and the wife says, do you smell that in there? And he, being a man, says, nope, not yet, but I'm about to. So she's sitting on the bed, and all of a sudden the phone rings. So she picks up the phone, and it's the front desk. And they say, hey, why don't you come down to our bar? We're going to get you guys some complimentary drinks. We're going to get the room a once over, and then we're going to let you guys go back up there once it's all tidied up. We're going to try and figure out what the smell's coming from. So the wife's like, okay, this is great. So the husband comes out of the restroom. She tells him, let's go downstairs, have some drinks. They're going to come up, tidy the room up a bit. And so they're both like, okay, this is great. So they go downstairs. They're getting their complimentary drinks, and they're just watching all of the life in Vegas. If you've ever been to Vegas, there's so much life. So they're sitting there sipping their drinks, watching back and forth. And then this really tall guy in a really nice fitted suit walks up to them and says, hello, I'm the manager. I'm so sorry you guys are dealing with all this, but we've got you guys your room all tidied up. I'd like to go up there with you and make sure the once over was done correctly. So they're like, thank you, let's head up. And so they all headed up to the room. So they walk in the room, and everything already smells so much better. Yes, it smells like cleaning products, but it smells so much better. And so later that night, they go out, they have a good time, and then they come back in, and the wife is exhausted, and she says, I'm going to go jump in the shower. And so the husband just jumps on the bed and just starts clicking through the TV and checking out the new American TV. And so he's laying there watching some TV, and he just shoves his face in a pillow, and he starts to smell that smell again. And he's like, what in the world? So he picks up the pillow, starting to smell it again. Can't really smell anything on the pillow. So he moves that to the side. Then he shoves his face in the bed. And he's starting to smell it again. And so he's throwing a one over, and he's like moving the sheets and stuff. He's like, I'm trying to figure out where that smell's coming from. About this time, his wife walks out, and she's, got this cute little nightgown on. They've been together for 25 years, and she instantly is just annoyed because the bedroom is completely a mess now, and he's dissecting things, looking through it, and she's just irritated because that's not how she wanted her night to go. So he starts saying, oh, we should have just stayed at home. We should have just not came. And she, at this point, says, we should have just stayed home. Like, this hasn't been fun for me either. So he says, I smell it. It's coming from here. It's coming from somewhere around here. So he starts picking through the bed more, whatever, and she, of course, is just watching to see what he finds. About this time, he picks up the actual bed and pulls it up, and what they find under is absolutely horrifying. So they hurry up, call the front desk, like, you need to get up here, this is what we've seen, yada yada, and they're both just like freaking out, like don't know what to do, definitely have never ever had something like this happen to them. So the front desk comes up, then they call authorities in. What had happened is there are bed frames in Vegas that are like a perfect square, and you can look under the bed, but you can't see under the bed because of this big square. And when somebody had pulled this mattress up, sadly, there was a beaten up, bruised body laying underneath this mattress, decaying. And sadly, there are so many stories you hear about this, where people have been missing and they found them in a hotel or an Airbnb under the bed. So always do your research. If something smells funky, make sure you use your nose that knows, okay? Because it knows.